Welcome to the Black Box App Podcast. I'm your host, Kenneth Johnson, president of the world's leading diversity recruitment firm, East Coast Executives, and founder and developer of the Black Box App. We are so excited today to have on the Black Box App Podcast a dear friend, colleague, confidant. I can keep throwing the adjectives in, but I'm just going to introduce him, man. It's Mike Robinson. Mike Robinson, T. Hold on, T. You. Temple University's own, Chester's own, Philly's own, Kappa Alpha Psi's own, Mike Robinson. What's going on, man?
Man? How you doing, my brother?
I can't
keep up, man. I can't keep up.
Excited to spend this time with you today, man. Excited.
Man, equally excited and always good to see you, man. You are just a man full of energy, but most importantly, talent and vision, man. So I'm happy to be a part of this.
Man, thank you so very much. You know, I tell you what, I could go on and on, but I'm going to let you give a brief bio of who Michael Robinson is, and then we'll take it from there.
So who is Mike Robinson? I'm still trying to figure that one out after 61 years. I'm currently the director of community outreach and hiring for Temple University's Linfest North Philadelphia Workforce Initiative. And in that role, I liaison with employers, build employer partnerships to match job-seeking candidates in the Philadelphia area with employer partners that we have relationships with. So that's essentially what I do. I also facilitate professional development training for adult professionals. I do mentoring of adult professionals, coaching them up on career development pieces that can help them climb the corporate ladder. And I'm also a senior pastor at a local urban church here in North Philadelphia. And I serve in a variety of community leadership roles. Kappa Alpha Psi, I'm an appointed committee member for our transit system here in Philadelphia, representing Delaware County. I'm also an alumni of the FBI Citizens Academy. I'm an alumni of the U.S. Justice Department's DEA Citizens Academy. And I'm a police chaplain here in Philadelphia. Those are just a few of my community outreach roles.
Mr. Philadelphia. Hey, listen, I know, one of the things that is really interesting about the work you do, and I think what's impactful about it, and I'm sure you had a kind of say in the way this played out, but in your role, specifically, you support North Philadelphia and the zip codes within North Philadelphia and assist those individuals, which if people aren't from Philly or if you don't know about Philadelphia, North Philadelphia is a very diverse neighborhood, predominantly Black and brown individuals. And, as I understand it, in your role, specifically, you're assigned to support individuals from those zip codes with connecting with employment opportunities at Temple University.
That's our primary target area. You are correct. We have an 8 zip code footprint that we focus on. That's our priority territory, but we can serve anybody in the tri-state area, particularly that 8 zip code cohort in North Philly.
I love it. I love it. You always show up. I've reached out to you on several occasions and asked you to come through. We've been at Project Home together doing Connect to Work. We've been down at the Philly Urban League doing that work for them as well. So I always appreciate that. But I think one of the biggest examples of you coming through and supporting is the job fair that you kind of spearheaded and kind of have made really what it is today, in my opinion. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that? And I believe it's coming up, am I correct?
Absolutely. This is our 15th year at Temple University presenting the annual neighborhood job fair. This is Temple University's, probably Temple's University largest community outward-facing community service endeavor. And it's going to take place on Friday, June 17th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is the 15th year we're doing it. This year, we're adding a different element to it. We're adding a community resource village to the job fair so that people that may have certain needs, family needs, individual needs, they can meet with these different community agencies and find, services that can benefit them. And so traditionally, we draw at this event, about 1,000 people, 1,000 job seekers. We typically have between 50 to 100 or more employers at the event. And this year, we're co-partnering with the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus. We partnered with them last year in doing it, and this year we're continuing the partnership. It worked out really well last year. We had Governor Wolf of Pennsylvania provide the welcome address last year.
Wow.
This year, we've secured Josh Shapiro. He is the Attorney General for Pennsylvania, so he'll be doing the welcome address along with the chairperson of the Legislative Black Caucus, Donna Bullock.
Man, Mike, you're a master networker and influencer, and it does not surprise me that people of that stature are supporting and coming out in support of the work you're doing over there at Temple. Listen, let's talk about this kind of, that doesn't happen overnight. So walk me through the Mike Robinson career journey. This young man leaves out of, I don't want to say Clarion. Was it Clarion?
It was Clarion.
Yeah. So this young, actually, let's just take it back. This young man leaves Chester High School, right?
Yeah, man.
And then take us from there.
All right, from Chester High. I didn't even want to go to college. My mom forced it on me, man. And I thank God that she did. And so I followed my sister to Clarion. I got accepted at Roger Williams College in Rhode Island, and I decided to go Clarion because my sister was there. And the recruiter for Clarion came to Chester High and really made an impression on me. So I said, I'll go to Clarion. It's just one of the 14 state schools in Pennsylvania. And so I majored in communications, did a lot of leadership there, a lot of partying too, brother.
Of course.
A lot of partying. And graduated, went into radio out of college, worked at a couple of radio stations here in Philadelphia, then got into working in corporate with an organization called En-ROADS that I'm sure you're very familiar with. They won numerous awards for being an elite organization for minority interns in business, science, technology, and that's it. Yeah. And so went into En-ROADS. After En-ROADS, made some tours of duty with some of the local universities in various capacities. I worked at Swarthmore College out of the dean's office as a director over a Trio Upward Bound program. At Newman University, I was director of internships and cooperative education, placing students in those kinds of roles and working with the employers. I taught business ethics at Eastern University and also an introductory religion class. And now here at Temple University, and I was the inaugural director of the Center for Male Engagement at Community College of Philadelphia, where we won a national award for our academic advising and coaching of Black and Brown male students, making sure that they graduated on time. And then I came here to Temple, and I've been here at Temple now for the past 11 years. So it'll be 11 years in August. I've worked my first 7 years in human resources. And this is my third year working in the capacity of director of the LimFest North Philadelphia Workforce Initiative. So that's kind of, the quick and dirty rundown.
All right. So as you kind of navigated these career paths and built relationships and kind of worked towards, where you're at now, I think there's some gems probably that you have that maybe you can share with our audience. We support, the Black Box app is designed to be a career resource for Black men. So if you can kind of put that hat on that you can't take off because you're a Black man, and speak to us a little bit about kind of what your advice would be for those listeners that are maybe entry level in their career.
So a couple of things: show up on time, be punctual, always show up. That's half the battle, showing up. So be present, be on time. One of my old heads told me, if you're early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late. So show up, be punctual, do your job well, make your supervisor look good. It's always important to make your supervisor look good. And you may not have the best chemistry with your supervisor, but always make your supervisor look good. Because when you do move on, nobody can refute the fact that you were an exceptional employee. And then support your team, your coworkers that you work with, support them when you can, promote your accomplishments big time on LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn as your biggest repository of documenting all of your accomplishments, videos, flyers, announcements of, speaking engagements, things like that. Always pump content on your LinkedIn page, because majority of American recruiters are on LinkedIn mining for talent. And so by you having a robust LinkedIn presence, that's going to help you professionally. Eat healthy and work out. A lot of people would be surprised that I would include that. But if you're not eating healthy and if you're not working out, you're not taking care of the temple, because you only get one body. And you got to stay on top of your grind. And in order to do that, you got to eat right and you got to exercise. And then read up on your profession and industry on a daily basis. Slice out an hour time for that.
I didn't even think about the eat healthy and work out piece, because when you think about it, and that's valid and great advice for any career level. But when you're younger, you're probably burning the candle at both ends, right? So it's really important for people that are entry level in their career to start it out like that, because kind of how you start is how you'll finish. So as we walk through that process, talk to us kind of a little bit about what it looked like and kind of the things that you took into account when you were advancing to the mid-management level and you had a little organizational influence.
Yeah, Harvard University put out an article a while ago that dealt with the malaise issues that mid-level professionals go through. And I call it the mid-level crisis, sometimes where you get bored at where you're at, or maybe you've maxed out where you're at and you hit that ceiling. They give a few suggestions, because I've been there in a couple of ways. I'm 61, so I've had that challenge. And so one of the ways to deal with that, I want to deal with it from that standpoint, and then I want to just talk about some generic pieces when you are comfortable, when you are thriving, when you are growing within an organization. So if you're in that malaise, that funky spot where you feel like you hit the ceiling and you just don't feel excited anymore, Harvard Business Review said, focus on learning, focus on recharging those batteries by learning new things, cross-training, if you will. And they say also reflect and reframe, rethink your professional pathway. You might have hit the ceiling in this silo, but maybe the silo over here might be a good look for you too. So reflect and reframe on where you are to kind of rethink your professional pathway. And then Harvard Business Review says to be very conscious in seeking out meaning. And in other words, maybe redefine your role. Your role might be director of human resources, but maybe expand that to include some other things. So reinvent yourself, in other words. Now, the Reed Group, which is one of the world's largest family-owned recruiting firm, they give a couple of suggestions for mid-level professionals. And I like these suggestions. Get your manager on board with your goals. So side with your manager, communicate to him or her what it is that you're trying to do at that place of work that you're at, and get them on board so that they can help you jettison to the next level. And that's a two-way dialogue. That's a dialogue where you're communicating to your manager, look, I just don't want to stay in this role. I want to grow. Create a personal action plan, seek out opportunities for development. When your company offers those free training programs, take advantage of those free workshops, because those workshops could cost you thousands of dollars elsewhere, but take advantage of them when they're offered at your job. Get stuck in your organization. In other words, get entrenched in volunteering, making sure you show up at company activities and events so that they can see that you're locked in. And then, use a coach, have a mentor. I have a variety of mentors for my life, mentors for my professional life, for my leadership endeavors outside of my workplace. I have a variety of mentors. So seek out some mentors, because you can't do this thing alone. You can't do growth in an organization, growth as a professional. That is not a solo act. You need folks to help you jettison to the next level.
Man, I'm glad you mentioned it not being a solo act, because even in the professional development piece, I think a lot of people take that on as a solo act, right? And sometimes you can have a great resource for professional development, and you can bring that to your manager, your direct report, and say, hey, listen, I came across this as a resource. It's really worked for me and it's helped me. I really believe it's something we could institute organizationally to improve our processes in this area, right? And that type of sharing and leadership is it's very simple and seamless, especially if you're doing it yourself, right? So I do appreciate the whole thing about it not being a solo act. So speaking of it not being a solo act, and speaking of mentorship, as we venture into the senior levels of our career and we start not necessarily having to work to prove ourselves, but needing to establish a legacy, what's that look like? What should individuals that are senior in their career be doing?
LinkedIn suggests that we should mentor those that are junior level folk. So if we're in a higher level of management and we have underlings, to bring them along. So as a Black professional, I've always looked out for other Black professionals who were junior to me. So if I was in management, I would try to give back by sharing information and giving input on projects to help those who are junior to me to excel. Also, job rotation is important. If you really want to excel in an organization, know various roles in an organization, because if you cross-train, what happens when a company downsizes, you're one of the vital people that they're going to keep because you know more than one job. And so cross-training or job rotation, what they called it back in the day, that's critically important so that you know more roles than just your one. And then, team building is important. Team building is vital because you build camaraderie, you build trust. Individuals begin to trust you more as you invest in building the team, camaraderie, and working together. And that doesn't necessarily have to always take place, in the confines of the office walls. You can do team building by having, hey, y'all, let's just get together, hit a movie, or let's go to dinner and just chop it up about, these upcoming projects. Just, to do creative things to keep the team cohesive, but to also reward them with compliments and affirmations at meetings. One of the most motivating and inspiring thing a supervisor can do is to acknowledge the good deeds of their employees. So if an employee did something outstanding, if an employee saved the company money or the department money or created some new efficiency, to highlight those things at staff meetings and company newsletters, to give some shine to those that may work under you, because that motivates people when they are firm. It motivates people when they feel that their work is appreciated. So those are a few things. I would also challenge those that are in senior roles who are Black and brown to also be a part of the recruiting efforts, because where the Black talent is. And oftentimes predominantly white organizations don't know this information. We take it for granted because we're in that mix. But to help with the recruiting of steering companies and directions of where they can tap talent, HBCUs, the Divine Nine organizations like the Inroads, connecting with specialty boutique organizations like East Coast Executives. Those are, vital types of things that we as Black professionals may take for granted, but it may be gold and platinum for a predominantly white organization that may not be on top of this kind of stuff. And then, like I said, spotlight, the junior level folk, give them some shine, give them pieces of special projects, give them opportunity to speak at important staff meetings where the higher ups are involved, to give them some shine and opportunity to grow their professionalism within the organization. So those are just a few of my personal pieces, along with some of the pieces that LinkedIn suggests.
I love it. It's the Black Box App podcast. We're on with Mike Robinson of Temple University.
And look, I was on that, John. I downloaded that, John, this week. I love it, man. Look,
thank you.
First of all, I love the fact that you got workshops on that joint. I'm sorry, you got workshops on there.
Yeah, no, we 100 over here. Yeah, you can say John, joint. We do it all over here. Don't worry about it. Let's go.
You got workshops on there. You got podcasts on there. Quick professional development seminars people can like get in and out on. You got information on there with job opportunities. People can post jobs on there. You got a section on that joint, man, where you got a social network of events and activities that are going on. I love that joint, man. I love it.
Thank you. Look, man, we're doing it. We're going to keep expanding on it. And, we've been happy with the feedback we've received from individuals like you. That's really important for us because, this is, I don't want to call it the beta, but, we rolled it out last August. So we're trying to get better and we're trying to be great. So I really appreciate the feedback. And we got to find, well, you'll be on it with this for sure. But we're going to find some other ways to get that Mike Robinson content on there. You know what? That brings me to a good question here. Yeah. What resources are you using professionally to stay on point and to keep your professional development right? I know you use LinkedIn. I know you dropped into the Black Box App podcast. What else are you doing professionally to stay sharp?
Absolutely. I read the Harvard Business Review because they always include business scenarios, actual business cases, challenges that management had to deal with, but they, substitute names and of the company and people to kind of disguise the actual organizations. But that's a great piece, and it gives great information. And then, I'm on LinkedIn, as you said. LinkedIn provides a resource of a vast video library of professional development training, and even some training that you can get certification in. Some of it's free, some of it you got to pay for. If you have a LinkedIn, premium account, you have access to all of that. And then I read the Wall Street Journal, and I always read the business section of my, local newspaper here in Philadelphia, which is the Philadelphia Inquirer. And so those are some of the things that I stay on top of to keep me fresh and on top of what's happening in industry across the country and locally.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of locally, before we jump off, let them know again about the event that's coming up.
The job fair that we're hosting is the 15th annual Neighborhood Job Fair and Resource Village. This is our 15th year doing it. It's going to be on Friday, June the 17th. That's Friday, June the 17th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be at the Aramark Star Complex, which is 1816 North 15th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19121. That's on the campus of Temple University on the corner of 15th and Montgomery Avenue in North Philadelphia. It's an inside football field. It's an indoor football field. We have plenty of employers, bring plenty of resumes, and be ready to speak to a lot of employers that are hiring, and come dressed to impress.
And no matter where you live, Mike has companies with a national presence there. So you'll be able to meet and connect with influencers that can support your career aspirations across the board. Hey, we're coming through, man. The Black Box App, East Coast Executives, we're coming through on the 17th. We're gonna come out to Philly and hang out with Mr. Robinson and all the great people out there in North Philly. So I'm excited about that as well. Listen, Mike, let the listeners know how they can stay connected to you and your content.
Absolutely. 215-204-0677. Again, that's 215-204-0677. And my email is mike.robinson@temple.edu. mike.robinson@temple.edu.
Man, listen, this is what we do on the Black Box App podcast. It's family. He's giving away phone numbers, email addresses. He didn't just send you to LinkedIn. He didn't say, hey, I'm on LinkedIn, or you can follow my Instagram, or you can hit me on Twitter. Nah, Mike gave a phone number. Mike, that might be his cell number. That might be,
that's not the backbone. That's not the backbone.
That's not the backbone. Hey, look, man.
Only you have that number.
I got that one. I got it, and I use it often. Look, listen, and if you're in need of the word on Sunday, please don't hesitate to reach out to him there as well, right? Mike, give him the church information.
Yep, Greater Enon Missionary Baptist Church. We're at the corner of 22nd and Berks, a minute's walk from Temple University, and our address is 1854 North 22nd Street, Philadelphia, PA. 19121, and our Sunday service is 11 to 12.
I love it. This is what we do. It's the Black Box App Podcast. Kenneth L. Johnson, Mike Robinson. Listen, Mike, we really appreciate you coming through and showing up big time for all of our listeners and all the supporters of the Black Box App.